Arkham Origins, one of the most underrated and hated out of the 4 Arkham games. Well, except for Origins Blackgate. Fuck that. Anyways, I think one aspect of the game that fans and gamers often overlook is the relationship that Batman has with some of the characters. Like with Gordon. They're enemies at the beginning, but then they start to understand each other throughout the story. At the end of the boss fight, they start to recognize their own faults and realize that they can work together in the future. Especially with Joker. Well, not the working together part, but they both recognize that they're going to be enemies for a long time. And how they are so different in their own ways that they're destined to be enemies forever. But they and everyone else aren't that important to Batman's journey to accepting allies, except Alfred. Alfred is by far the most important character in Batman's career. Like, not even just the game. I mean, Batman's whole career. In case you haven't played this game, let me give you a little retrospect of what's going on throughout the game. Batman has to take down 8 assassins because he has a bounty on his head of $50 million. All in his second year of crime fighting. The beginning of the game is pretty basic, if I'm being honest. They're getting along pretty well so far, Bruce and Alfred. But it's throughout the game where we start to notice a change. Something different. We scan as much as we can at Lacey Tower, and then we need to access the National Criminal Database to determine who was killed at the crime scene. Batman enters the GCPD and starts taking down the guards. That's when Alfred tries to tell Batman to not be as violent because they can be an ally to help him, but of course Batman doesn't bother. It doesn't start to come into effect when Black Mask turns out to be the Joker. And it still doesn't start to get into effect when Batman starts chasing down the Joker in the hotel. Alfred keeps on insisting that Batman calls Gordon for assistance. But of course he resists because he works alone. And at one point, Batman even says,
I don't need any allies.
I'd imagine if I was Alfred that would hurt deep down. Because Alfred took in the boy right after the death of the Waynes, and for Bruce to not even call him an ally? That wouldn't just hurt Alfred, that'd hurt us too if we were in his shoes. We get caught by Bane and we have our first fight in the room with him. Alfred is scared that Batman will lose to him brutally and insists that he calls Gordon. But again, he tries to push the ally part aside and says,
No, not now.
After Batman saves Joker, Gordon's force surrounds Batman, but of course he escapes. Then we get the beautifully crafted Joker sequence explaining his origin story. And then Batman starts to hallucinate Crime Alley because of what the Joker did to those 2 henchmen. And it's very similar to what happened to his parents. Alfred catches him and asks if he's hungry. Well, Batman being Batman says no and blames Alfred for Joker not being in custody because he called Gordon.
If you hadn't called the police, he'd already be in custody.
A few seconds later, Alfred tries to sympathize with Bruce, saying that he made a promise.
You know, I made a promise of my own to your parents.
It makes sense when talking about it now. Alfred thinks that Gotham doesn't need Batman anymore for the night, so he wants him to be safe and enjoy Christmas dinner with him.
You do realize it is Christmas Eve, sir? Sir, I may be stating the obvious here, but you do realize that since you and I are the only people who know the Batman's true identity, those assassins will all fail their mandate if you'd just spend the evening here.
They'll put innocents in danger to attract my attention. I can't take that risk.
And you think it's a better idea to just put yourself in their crosshairs?
But Batman is too caught up with work and trying to find Bane. Even trying to have a conversation about him promising to keep Bruce safe can't go through Bruce's mind because he wants to bring all of the criminals in before anyone else gets hurt. So we get the glue grenade and let me just say this scene is criminally underrated. Alpha confronts Bruce, telling him that he won't let him go out knowingly that he might die because he's outmatched. Batman is confused as hell, but Alfred keeps it going by saying,
You're not some hardened vigilante. You're a young man with a trust fund and too much anger. You're in over your head, and I don't want this to be your end.
Batman tried to ignore it, but he snapped. Now he is the one confronting Alfred. He asks him,
Alfred, who do you see when you look at me? The boy whose shoes you used to tie every morning? The teenager you drove to his first date?
He goes on to tell him that while he's inside the whole time, he's outside. The only thing between the innocent and the predatory. Alfred is trying to tell him that he may or may not be, but he doesn't even get to finish his sentence because Batman is blinded by what he does and what he believes he defies as. And then Batman goes on to say what he is.
No, not may be. I am. When the mugger or the thief stops to think twice, that is fear. That is what I am. That is why they hired assassins, because I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises.
He's incredibly outraged at Alfred, even thinking about him not representing what he's trying to be. Fear to the criminals. And he doesn't stop is what makes this worse. He storms off stubbornly, saying that it's not going to be his last night. It'll be theirs. And Alfred just feels defeated. All he was trying to do was protect the little boy that he swore to his parents that he would protect by trying to get him to eat dinner with him. That's all Alfred wanted. That way he doesn't have to see Bruce die on Christmas night. But no, Bruce doesn't understand that. Because he has always felt that he was alone. When he says,
While you are here every night, I am out there. The only thing between the innocent and the predatory.
Bruce has been training and going out almost every night trying to put fear in the criminals when Alfred stays on the sideline, silently trying to support the boy he swore to protect, while he's out there in danger 24/7. But he can't protect him if he's out there all the time. It's the confrontation that shows that he hasn't been the biggest fan of Batman, and it hurts Bruce. It hurts in general when someone that you love goes against what you're trying to do. Something that you love doing, only for them to crush you, but not because they hate you. Because they love and care about you. But unfortunately, Bruce can't see that until after the argument when Alfred apologizes to him.
Look, I'm sorry about what I said before you left. I hope you understand. It's just because...
It's okay. I understand.
Now this is the part where it gets complicated for Batman. At this point, Bane figured out that Bruce is Batman, and he's going to Wayne Manor to destroy it. But now he has to deal with the hostages that Firefly set on a burning bridge that he's going to explode. Batman knows that Alfred is in danger, and Alfred tried to tell him to ask the police and Gordon for help, but Batman justifies that the hostages are in jeopardy because of him. He has to deal with them himself. All he can do is tell Alfred to secure himself in the Batcave.
Because of the bounty Joker placed on my head, he'll be safe in the Batcave.
This makes him fucking angry. You can hear it in his voice multiple times.
How many bombs are on this bridge? Listen, I'm on my way to disarm the bomb at the south end. Have this door open by the time I get back. Gordon won't cooperate. I'm heading to get the other bomb. Get those codes to me by the time I'm done. I'm not looking for praise, Alfred. Alfred, open the fire door.
As you wish, sir.
Batman never got to reach the bomb, and he thinks it's too late. It turns out that it never set off, and Gordon actually got to it. He defeats Firefly, and him and Gordon realize that they can make a pretty good team.
I should have gotten to that last bomb.
Yeah. And I should have given you access to that security door. But between the two of us, we covered it pretty well.
And now we head back. Bruce tried to contact Alfred, but it's too late. Bane has already destroyed the Batcave and brutally beaten Alfred to the point where he only has a few breaths left.
I have left enough life in him for some final words. If you hurry. Alfred!
Bruce flies as fast as he can. He cannot let anyone else die. Not after the death of his parents. He pushes the junk off of him, hoping that he will be okay. But
Alfred, you can't.
Don't add me to the weight you carry.
it's too late. He didn't even get to say his goodbyes. The last in-person conversation he had with him was an argument, and now he's dead. If he had just listened to Alfred from the start, asking for help, this most likely wouldn't have happened. How could he be this stubborn, to the point where he lost someone because of what he does? All Alfred wanted was to fulfill that promise he made to Bruce's parents, and now he can't. Now Bruce is the one who is defeated.
No!
He finds out seconds after that he can shock him back to life. He's begging for one more chance.
Come on, damn it!
He'll do whatever he needs to do, but he cannot let this man die. And then
You're going to be alright.
humanity has been restored in Bruce, but not in the good way. Now the roles are reversed. Now Alfred is the one who fully supports what Bruce does. He just couldn't see it. But now Bruce is the one who's scared.
I can't defend Gotham. I can't even defend my own home.
Alfred tries to tell him that he can't down himself now. But at this point, Bruce is scared to go outside. Something he never would have ever thought about in his life. But Alfred doesn't give up on him, telling him that if he's going to do it, he needs to be able to ally with other people. Because like Alfred says,
No, you can't. Not on your own. But it's high time you realize that you are a man, not an island. And a man's strength comes not from just brawn and intelligence, but also from his allies.
Batman finally gets it. He finally understands why he needs allies, why he can't do everything alone. Without Alfred, he wouldn't be half of the man he is today.
They need you.
No. They need us.
Thanks. Thanks for...
I could use your help. Captain Gordon's on his way. Secure the gates for him, then help him lock this place down.
Sir, I've been listening to the reports coming out of Blackgate. Everything okay?
I should be asking you that. How are you feeling?
Well, it's not every day that one's heart must be crudely resuscitated by defibrillation, but I must say I feel remarkably well, considering.
Good to hear. Any arrhythmia, let me know immediately. Gordon, Joseph, I need your help to stop the Joker.
Our help? You're the so-called vigilante. Or is one kill enough for you tonight?
Bane's in cardiopulmonary arrest. I have only minutes to resuscitate him before it's too late.
You mean you didn't?
That's not how I do things. Now go.
Help me keep these guys off the warden.
Quite well.
Master Bruce, can you hear me?
Yes, and thank you for the help with Bane.
I trust he's down for good this time.
He's secure, and it appears the TN-1 Bane took damaged his memory permanently.
Does that mean he won't be revealing your identity?
Looks that way.
Glad to hear it, sir. And the Joker?
He's still on the loose, but not for long.